The tugboat, for its size, is the most powerful craft afloat. And the star tugs are the power behind the docks and waterways that make up the big city port. This is TUGS.
It was a dull, wintry day in Big City Port. A thick sea mist was swirling round, shrouding everything in a damp blanket of fog, and making the tugs shiver. Sip and Sug, two of the set stacks, were creeping across the harbour, trying to see their way. "Hi, Sug!" shouted Sip. "What's that over there?" The two set stacks crept quietly towards a large shape looming through the fog.
"It's an old boat, Sip," said Sug. "It must have drifted in with the tide."
"What shall we do about it? We can't leave it drifting loose. It might cause an accident," said Sip thoughtfully. They tied the old boat to a nearby buoy and went to tell Soren. "Well done," grinned Soren. "I can sell the boat to Burke and Blair, the scrap merchants, and make a handsome profit." Soren went to alert Burke and Blair, leaving Sip and Sug to tow in the old boat. By this time it was quite late. Darkness had fallen and the fog was even thicker. Out in the bay, OJ, the oldest of the star tugs, was feeling tired and fed up. He'd lost his glasses earlier that day, and as he crossed the harbour he bumped into something solid. He couldn't find his way around it, so in the end decided to stay where he was until daylight. It was no use him trying to find his way back to the Star Pier in this fog. He settled down to sleep. Across the harbour, Sip and Sug were steaming round in circles, trying to find the old boat.
"It must be here somewhere," muttered Sip. "I knew we should have tied it up better," said Sug. "Now we'll be in trouble with Soren. He was looking forward to getting some money from Burke and Blair."
They became aware of the dim outline of a boat just ahead. "There it is!" cried Sip. "We found it at last!" Quickly they attached a rope to the boat to tow it into the yard. As soon as the boat was safely tied up in Burke and Blair's yard, they steamed through the fog back to the set stack pier. Next morning, OJ was most surprised to wake up and discover he was in Burke and Blair's yard.
"I thought I was having a nightmare last night, but it really happened," he murmured, looking around and feeling bewildered. The fog had lifted, and by mid-morning, Sip and Sug realized they had made a dreadful mistake. But when Burke and Blair asked Soren if the old boat in the yard was the one to be scrapped, they said nothing. "Yes, the boat's in the yard," Soren assured Burke and Blair. "Sip and Sug towed it in there last night." "Shouldn't we say something?" whispered Sip to Sug. "No, just think, if they scrap OJ, we'll have some extra work," replied Sug craftily.
Later that morning, Soren passed the scrapyard and saw OJ in there. A moment later, he bumped into Big Mac. "I see you've decided to scrap OJ," he said. "About time too." "What?" exclaimed Big Mac. "We've done no such thing." Big Mac hurried round to the scrapyard, and there found OJ, looking very forlorn. Fortunately, Burke and Blair had been out all morning, and so hadn't started to dismantle yet. "Thank goodness," said Big Mac, looking very relieved. "We were all very worried about you, OJ."
"I don't know what happened," said OJ. "Last night I lost my glasses and got stuck in the harbour. I fell asleep and woke up in here."
The StarTugs felt sure the set stacks were behind it all somehow, but no one could prove anything. At least OGA wasn't scrapped, said Big Mac. If anyone's scrapped, it should be those set stacks.